everyone, this is Shadow the Rat, and in today's video I'm going to be doing a rat haul for you. So I've been collecting stuff for a while now, and I just got in the last few things I needed from Amazon. So yeah, I'm going to get started. So the first things I'm going to go over are going to be some space pods. And I have one more. Okay, so as you can see, all three of these space pods are a bit different, so I'm going to explain why. So this one here is just the typical one you can get off Amazon. I'm going to put the rats down so they can explore some. But yeah, this one here is just the typical one off Amazon. It's teal and purple, which is great, and it's a nice size. You can see it's the large one, but unfortunately the only colors Amazon ever has are these two. So I got this one to actually replace one of the other space pods I had. I usually have two of them, but one of them got destroyed by the baby rats because they did not like being in a small cage before I introduced them to the older ones. So yeah, one of my original space pods got destroyed and I decided to replace it. So that's what we have here. And right next to it, you can see this entirely purple one. Now this one actually comes all the way from the UK. And if I turn it around, you can see it's called a Sputnik extra large instead of a space pod. And that's because it's just called something different there. And I actually ordered this because in the picture, it was yellow and green. So I was hoping I was going to get a yellow and green space pod or even a black and gray one like in the picture here, but unfortunately I didn't. It came in completely purple. Not that I hate purple, I like purple. It's a very nice space pod. It's also a very nice size. It said it was going to be around an inch smaller than this one, but as you can see, it's easily as big, if a little different shaped. So yeah, I really like this space pod as well. I think the rats are going to enjoy sleeping in it. Oh yeah, and something I didn't mention, to anyone who's not familiar with space pods, you can use them like this, and you can also flip them over and use these little pieces, cream, and use these little pieces at the bottom to hang them from the top of the cage like a little hammock. They really like these. They sleep in the space pods they have all the time. So Cream, you gonna get out, Cream? Cream? You're not gonna get out? Okay, so now we get to this last space pod, and I'm kind of embarrassed about this, guys, because this thing here, I thought it was going to be the size of this. Yeah, I kind of looked at the dimensions, which were in centimeters, and I mistook them for inches. Oh my god. So this thing is so tiny. It's actually, what, dwarf hamster size, mouse sized. It's not really a good size for the rats. Like, let's look at Cream here. We're going to compare Cream to the size of this thing. Look at Cream. She is as big as the thing. Can she even fit inside? I don't even think she can fit inside. Look at this hole. Cream doesn't even want to go. Oh, she's trying. She's trying. Guys, this is Cream sitting in there. This is as far as she could get in there. And Cream's an adult rat, so yeah, she has the squeeze to get her butt out the door. So yeah, this thing here is only really big enough for my baby rats. And see, they can fit inside just fine. Maybe if you had dwarf rats, they would be fine, but I only have standard rats, so it's kind of just super small. So I'll use it for now. Later on, I'm probably going to detach the pieces and just use this pink part right here, because once you detach every piece, then you can just lay it from the top of the cage and it'll be like another hammock. But for now, it's just a little small. What can I say? I made a mistake. So yeah, that happened. So here are my three space pods, and I will move on to the next thing. Okay, so the next thing I have here is also from Amazon, and it's a double-decker hammock. So as you can see, if I lift it, there is a underlayer. They can sleep in here, and they can also sleep on top. And it's made of a very nice material. I feel like it's really sturdy, and I also think the rats are really going to like it, especially because it's so soft. So, you know, as long as they don't chew up these pieces, and even if they do, I'll just find a new way to hang it, but hopefully they won't chew it up too quickly. And I've actually never had a double-decker hammock in the rat's cage, so I think they're really going to enjoy this one. It had a lot of high ratings, so yeah, I look forward to giving it to the rats. So the next thing I have here is actually from Petsmart. It's the All Living Things Hanging Hut, and you can find these in the bird section. So these basically just hang in the cage. They have, as you can see up here, a little connector thing, and inside they're just pretty open. The rats can just go and sleep in there. And my rats really love these. Now, in the past when I had Latte, she would chew the heck out of them and they would be dead within like 2 days. But hopefully my current group of rats won't do the same thing because, well, I'd like this thing to stick around a little bit more. So the next thing I have here is this bird watering thing. And as you can see, you just screw it onto the bars with this little thing over here. And then you put the water inside. And what I really like about these is that they allow the rats to drink from inside here in a pretty natural way. You know, they just lick it up. But not only that, but they protect the water from basically all sides. So one of the biggest issues with water bowls that I have is that, well, the rats like to hoard stuff and they like to put it over their resources. So if you leave out a water bowl, then the rats are probably going to end up covering it and pretty much wasting it. And even if you get one of those water bowls that screws into the side of the cage, things can still fall into it, dust, poop, whatever, and I don't like that. So this is the perfect solution because as you can see, this little cover here, it covers the entire bowl except for where the rats drink. So it's really nice because nothing gets into the water. The rats figure out really quickly how to drink from in here, and it's a very nice size for them. So I already have one in the cage, but with 5 rats in the cage, it's getting used up really quickly, so I thought that having another one would really help. So the next thing I have here is 3 different dog ropes. These all come from my local Dollar Tree. They're each just $1, and they're perfect for putting in the rat's cage. So basically you just hang them up in the cage, you can use clips or whatever, and then they act as little ropes. So unlike those bird ropes, which are like $10 to buy, these are just $1. They come from my local Dollar Tree, and I can find a huge variety of them. And I really think the rats are going to enjoy walking and doing whatever they do in the cage. They're just great to have around. So the next thing I have here is this water bottle. So I absolutely love these water bottles because not only are they great for hanging up in the cage, as you can see here, it's super easy to hang these up. They just have a little pouch that holds them up against the bars, but they're just so nice in general because this hard plastic here, nothing can chew through it. And I'm saying that with lots of experience. I've had, I think, 3 of these bottles for over 5 years. They've gone through gerbils, which are huge chewers, hamsters, and rats. So they've had quite a history. They still work. They're great, still clean, still easy to clean, and I absolutely love these water bottles because of that. This here is going to be an extra one. I might add it to the cage because I have 4 of these in there, and with 5 rats, well, they do go down pretty quickly. I change around every 2 to 3 days, but I might just keep it as an extra one because, well, it's nice to have something extra on hand if one of them ever breaks. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is this JW little treat thingy, and I don't remember the name of this, but it's basically a little parrot toy, and the rats just have to push it around, spin it, so that little treats fall out. And I really like these. I've actually done a video on this one specifically, but I have another one right here, and the rats just need to push it. They figure it out really quickly. The only downside to this is that you have to put really small treats in that can get stuck when the rats spin it. But other than that, you just put it on the side of the cage, and it's a lot of fun for them. They really get a lot of mental exercise figuring it out, and once they figure it out, they really like to push it like this. So the next thing I have here is just the All Living Things plastic chains bird toy. So this isn't actually a toy, it's really to hang toys up. And I already have some of these, but I've never tried the larger size. These are basically just for hanging up hammocks and stuff, and that's what I'm going to be trying with these. They were a little pricey, so I might not get them again, but I thought I would try and see how they work. So the next thing I have here is also from Petsmart. It's the All Living Things Rabbit Multi-Fruit Kebab. And as you can see, it has these poorly painted vegetables and fruits on it. So honestly, I didn't get this for the chews on it because I find my rats tend to ignore these things. So I'm just going to be taking them off and putting some veggies or fruits on here. That's actually the reason I bought this, because I like the metal stick. I have another one, but it doesn't have the metal part. So yeah, I'm just going to be hanging this up in the cage with some veggies or fruits or other treats on it. Okay, so this next thing here isn't really for the rats. It's more for me to make things for the rats. Anyways, you can see here, this is a soldering iron, and I'm just going to be using this to, well, burn holes into plastic because that's pretty much what it's meant for. And I wish I had one of these when I made my bin cage, but since I didn't, I ended up using my Dremel for most of it. But I would have used this to poke those little holes I wanted to thread the metal through. So we'll see what else I can do with this. This thing here is basically a watering device. I've been trying out lots of these, as you saw with my other bird thing, which I really like. But I just wanted to try this one out. It was also about $1.50, and basically it's just a water silo. You put in water through the top here, which I can't get right now off. There we go. And after that, it should come down through the bottom, and the rat should be able to drink from it. And I actually got this one because it has a pretty wide spout, probably won't be using this because I've used these before and they suck at keeping things on the cage. I'll just be hooking it up with one of my mini bungee cords, but we'll see how the rats like it. So moving on, now we have some Ecotrition cheese chews, and these are the rats' absolutely favorite types of chews. So they don't really like chews in general, like I said, they're not really into the whole wooden thing, but they make an exception for these. So these are basically just edible chews, and the rats go crazy for them. I'll sometimes give them one when I want them to do something instead of being loud and noisy, so they can just go and chew on one of these. But I'll usually have to break it into several pieces because they will actually fight over these chews. So yeah, they just love these things, and I definitely recommend getting them if you have rats because, well, they really enjoy them. Okay, so the next thing I have here is a big bag of Ecotrition bedding. Now you'll notice this has already been opened because I was using it when I did my whole bin cage thing and I got it a while back, but I wanted to share it because, well, this is my favorite type of nesting material. So this stuff is not the best at controlling smell or any sort of odor, but I find they really like to burrow in it, and it actually expands when they walk all over it. So it looks really small here, but gets really large once it's in the cage. So this is definitely something that's nice to have on hand if you're trying to give the rats a little bit of something they can burrow in or just nest in, and it makes a great sort of nesting material. So the next thing I have here are just my typical Oxbow adult rat food bags. As I've said before, I really like to use Oxbow as my main staple for the rats. Even the young ones get the adult Oxbow rat food because, well, while Oxbow does make a young adult rat food, it's just not the same quality, and the only big difference is protein-wise, so you can supplement extra protein if you're feeding your babies this. You really don't have to. It's still a decent amount of protein for young rats. So yeah, they all really love this food, and I really like to get it for them. Okay, so the next thing I have here is going to be a little bit strange, and it's because it's a sanding sponge or block. And the reason I have this is because someone told me that they use it really successfully to file down their rat's nails. Now, I've never had a big issue with my rat's nails because, I don't know, they just don't bother me. Like, I probably have scratches over myself, but I just don't feel them. I've probably just gotten used to them because the rats climb on me so much. But I thought I'd try them out and just see how this sanding sponge works. My rats are all really good with handling, so I don't think it's going to be an issue to try it out. Okay, so this next box here, I was really debating whether I should show it in this video because it's basically, well, it's basically medication, because it is medication. And you can see here, it's the wellness kit from ladygouldianfinch, and it's a bunch of different antibiotics. This one here is Baytril, this is Doxyvet, which is doxycycline, and this is amoxycycline. Anyways, like I said, I wasn't too sure about showing this in the video because it's not a good idea to use antibiotics without going to a vet. It's just not, because most pet owners aren't doctors, and we just don't know how to correctly diagnose something. It can look like one thing and be something totally different, but in my experience, it's a good idea to have some of these around, because not only do rats tend to get ill at the worst possible moment, and I mean, they start to show symptoms at the worst moment, but sometimes you'll get vets who just won't believe you, and if you don't have other options, it's good to have a backup plan. So while these definitely don't make up for taking a rat to the vet, they are handy to have on hand if something goes wrong in the middle of the night. Like with my rat Cookie, she started showing URI symptoms, that's upper respiratory infection symptoms, in the middle of the night, and I was pretty sure that's what I was dealing with, so I gave her a dose of Baytril, and in the morning I took her to the vet. Anyways, this is the fun part, because I actually got 2 little samples for my rats. Okay, so first we have these mealworms, and rats really like mealworms. This is a free sample that comes with every single ladygouldianfinch thing. It comes with 2 free samples, so thought I'd get these little mealworms for them to try. And this is similar. This is just little dried shrimp. Same thing as the mealworms. They like to eat these, and I think they're really going to enjoy having these. Just a little bit to try. So yeah, that's that whole thing. Okay, so the next thing I have here is just the ordinary yesterday's news bedding that I tend to put in the cage. This is actually what I use for my main bedding. Like I said before with the eco stuff, that's just nesting material. This is the real hard hitter because this stuff is not only heavy, so it's hard for the rats to kick out, but it's also really good at absorbing urine and any sort of odors. It takes about half a bag to fill around 2 inches of my large cement mixing pan, which is in my Critter Nation. And yeah, it just does a really good job at what it's supposed to do. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you want, you can check out my rat website at www.rattricks.weebly.com, link in the description. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!